Good evening and thanks for watching the news on Times TV. With me, Uncle Seonda. First, the headlines. Parliament calls for a mining council to oversee mining issues in the country. Plunder of public resources continues in the country despite several interventions. In other news, workers in the country's informal sector are suffering serious abuse. We also have the latest in international news. Please do stay with us. The Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has called for the establishment of a mining council to oversee mining issues in the country. A member of the committee, Ben Perry, made the call on behalf of its chairperson when Ministry of Mining officials appeared before the committee. Wezigosi reports.
As a committee, their overview of having mining council that will oversee the works of mining, let alone help in review of mining laws. Pili says the committee has noted with concerns that the country is failing to benefit from the proceeds of mining because there is no governing council. One of the country's mining experts, Undule Makasungula, says he supports the call by the parliamentary committee. He says currently there is a weak governance and institutions, poor legal frameworks and insufficient local capacity, resulting in extractive industry not being managed for long-term sustainable development. Another expert, Kosa Muntari, says the country has to define its vision in terms of mining industry, as introduction of a mining council is not a solution. He says the country should introduce a clear legislation on the mining industry that will also invest in human interest. The Minister of Mining refused to grant us an interview on the matter.
People making a living through informal sector are being exploited in the country. In this report, Isaac Salima tells a story of some individuals who, out of desperation to make ends meet, are falling prey to abuse.
Maison Poto from Navea village in traditional authority in Kanda in Palombe district is a cattle header. He takes care of over 50 cattle from different owners, and at the end of the month, he gets about 20,000 waja from about 5 owners. He dropped out of school because of lack of support. His day begins at around 6 in the morning as he is supposed to take the cattle for grazing. He has to endure all weather conditions. On sunny, windy, rainy days, he is in the field. And James Chibana from Bayani Township in Blantyre is a security guard in one of the shops in Blantyre City. He refused to speak on camera. He looks after goods worth millions of kwacha, and he gets about 25,000 kwacha at the end of the month. Obridge Bangano from Bangwe Township relies on piecework. He picks stones from Bangwe Mountain and sells to those in the construction works. He complains that most of the times he's not paid fairly.
I also face a lot of challenges doing this work, as some bosses do not pay us after we have done the work.
The country's minimum wage is at 50,000 kwacha, but most people employed in the informal sector continue facing exploitations as they receive whatever pleases their masters. Center for Social Concern recently proposed that minimum wage be revised upwards to 70,000 kwacha. In its analysis of the 2021 national budget, the center observed that cost of living continues being pushed higher due to the weakening of the Malawian kwacha. President of Malawi Union of Informal Sector, Ken Mhango, urged people in this sector to join the union so that they can report to them when exploited.
Most of the people who have been exploited are not members of the trade union. The only thing I can say is those who have not joined trade union, let them join so that together we can fight for their, injustices and their better wage. But meanwhile, most of the people who are complaining about raw wage and so on, they are not members of the trade union.
How unskilled these people can be, it is a fact that they are contributing to the economic well-being of their masters and the country at large. They need to be paid what they deserve.
Center for Social Accountability and Transparency has expressed concern over the continued plunder of public resources despite several interventions. Executive Director for the organization, Wide Kambwandira, said this during a meeting between civil society organizations, Ministry of Finance and parliamentary committees in Lilongwe. Kambwandira noted that public finances continue being stolen despite various interventions such as the public finance management legislation. Wezi Gausi reports.
For a long time now, the country have witnessed how public funds have been plundered, abused, and mismanaged, right in the eyes of people who are supposed to safeguard the funds, right in the eyes of oversight institutions, including the watchdog CSOs. Kambwandira says there is a need to explore ways that would help strengthen public funds management systems to support government safeguard public funds.
We want the bill to provide clear, stiffer penalties for violations. Currently, what we see is transfers of public officers who are negligent of their duty, who abuse public funds, perhaps from one district council to another, or perhaps from one government department to another. So we are saying it is now high time that we place personal accountability on negligent public officers. Budget
and Finance Committee of Parliament Chairperson Gladys Ganda says the budget process has a core role in the management of public funds.
As we speak, when there is a budget, or when the budget is being discussed in Parliament, what happens, the process is that when the budget is presented in Parliament, then the honourable members do break into clusters, and they are given various votes per cluster. You analyze those votes, you come up with your own recommendations to the Minister of Finance. Now, instead of the minister looking at those recommendations and also probably include them in the budget, the final document of the budget itself, most of the time you see that they are ignored. They're not taken into account, and yet there are some recommendations that are made by the honourable members that can be helpful to the nation.
Meanwhile, CSAT says the Public Funds Management Act reforms will increase transparency, trust, and confidence in the citizens in the private sector.
Local tourism firms are yet to start tapping into the international tourism market, a situation officials describe as a lost opportunity. One of the 1,600 tourism companies currently operating in Malawi, 80% are locally owned but are finding it tough to start operating in other countries. Sam Kalimira has the details.
The remarks were made by Deputy Director of Tourism responsible for planning and development in the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Wildlife, Noah Namsongole, who engaged coaches and mentors in the tourism sector at a training in Nkatabe district. Nansongole said it is high time the local firms are equipped to meet the international standards and compete with foreign investors in providing high-quality tourism services. He then said that is the reason the government is working with Mzuzu University in equipping small and medium enterprises on how best to provide internationally recognized tourism.
So this direct participation of locals in the tourism business is going also to actually help, in terms of building wealth and also their capacities.
Mzuzu University librarian Felix Majawa said the university noticed that there is a gap on issues of quality and customer care, hence providing poor services.
So this is an opportunity for the university and the other stakeholders like the ministry to reach out to people so that they're able to do better in terms of running of tourism and hospitality businesses in Malawi.
One of the tourism mentors, Lucy Saini, who runs Travelers Executive Lodge in Mangochi, said tourism mentors and coaches have realized that cheap labor is among many factors contributing to poor services delivery.
With the problem with us Malawians, we always love to employ cheap labor. Do you understand? We don't like employing professional people. So through this training, through this conference, I learned that I think I need to have some 2 or 3 people, the professional people.
The tourism mentors and coaches were brought from all the districts of the country, and they have been awarded certificates after completing the 1-week-long training.
At least 9 children whose parents are serving jail terms at Chichiri prison face numerous challenges, Times has established. There are children of ages ranging from 3 months to 3 years old at the correctional facility. The children lack basic necessities, as Elweden Impasa finds out in this report read by Jameson Chauluka.
A group of young concerned citizens on Sunday visited Chichiri prison in Blantyre, where they donated clothes and food items such as maize flour, refreshments, soap and breakfast cereals worth 500,000 kwacha to pregnant mothers and women who have children in the prison. Memone Gajit Sakamdaya, a nurse at Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital, said she mobilizes funds through her WhatsApp status updates for support to help the needy and vulnerable people in the prisons.
Much as we know, a prison environment is a very difficult environment to raise up a child, so we brought these things to help them. We are here to ask well wishers as well as even the government to consider these children. Chichiri prison has no nursery school, so these children, they are just staying, and whenever they time for their mothers that have finished serving the sentence, the children, they start from zero. So we are asking the government to consider opening a nursery school at Chichiri prison so that these children, whenever they go out, they should start primary 1. So much as we always say that children are the future leaders of tomorrow, we never know now that the future leader or the next president of this country, we are keeping them in the prisons right now. So I'm asking even the first citizen, who is our president, to do something about these children.
Receiving the donation on behalf of the officer in charge, chaplain for the Chichiri prison, Gloria Weruzani, thanked the group for the donation. Chichiri prison has 9 under 5 children and 3 pregnant mothers in its cells.
The Norwegian Public Institute and the Public Health Institute of Malawi have signed a partnership that will build the 2 institutions' capacity. Norwegian Global Health Department Director Kari Shuda Hassan says the partnership will also facilitate exchange programs between the 2 institutions. Rebecca Chinjeka has more in this report read by Wezi Gausi.
Hassan says the 2 institutions will share study programs, public health, which is both academic and theoretical. Executive Dean of School of Global Public Health, Professor Joseph Mfuso Bengo, says the partnership will help train top-of-the-class public health specialists in the country.
But also there's a possibility that some of the students will be attached to Public Health Institute Norway. It's an exchange program. We Malawi, we can also teach others. So there will be students from Norway coming to University of Web Science, but also to Public Health Institute to learn, but also to be Malawians going outside to learn also from them. So it's a question of collaboration, partnerships in the spirit of Ubuntu, where as humans we are interconnected, interrelated, interdependent.
Meanwhile, Bengo says the overall goal is to build stronger healthy systems.
The University of Livingstonia in Lea has told the government to live up to its promise of creating jobs for Malawians. The call comes as unemployment levels remain high in the country. In Lea, Chancellor Reverend Howard Matia Nkoma says lack of resources should no longer be used as an excuse by the government. Feston Malekezo has the details.
Matia Nkoma, who was speaking during the 15th graduation ceremony of the university, said if people are able to abuse governmental resources, simply means resources are there, adding what needs to be done is for the government to seal the loopholes that encourage corruption. He said while they are appreciating the efforts the government is doing on job creation, more needs to be done.
So the excuse of having not enough money is sometimes being defeated by the fact that some people are taking away money, some people are stealing money, some people are misusing resources which would have been used to employ more and more young men, women, or new graduates.
In his remarks, Nzondi Moyo, Northern Regional Education Division Manager, said they appreciate the efforts private institutions are making in the education sector in the country.
So private institutions like Livingstonia, University of Livingstonia today here, they are doing a very good job. They are really assisting students in Malawi to access higher education, which would not be easy if it were only for public universities.
One of the graduating students, Prince Mandela, a Bachelor of Social Sciences and Development Studies, said hard work is key to success. UNIA opened its doors in 2003 and its first cohort graduated in 2005 with 35 students. This year, 611 students have graduated, bringing the total to 3,644.
We'll be back after this break.
Koma zomwe ndikuona lero zindizoona muli pakhomo ndithu lero lokhala weekend.
Malame osangosangalala kuti lero ndili pakhomo bwanji.
Ndizondabwitsa.
Bwanji kodi ndisakhale pakhomo pali panga zinthu zakuwera kunjaku okhala pakhomo pano moonera mpira pa TV.
Kutanthauza kuti bora kulipira Go TV kusiyana ndi kuyenda indeti. Ayi pamene pomwaganiza bwino ndithu.
Etu pano majesa limanja mwa Go TV pano pazibambo tonse tizipezeka pakhomo.
Mukanangonena kuti pa ground sipali bwino.
Nanuso tangokhani apa tizonera tonse.
Go TV, love it.
Materials at the lowest prices.
Welcome back. The High Court in Mzuzu has reduced the sentence and released on bail 22-year-old Patrick Mafulirwa, who was serving a jail sentence at Mzuzu prison. Mafulirwa was convicted and sentenced on defilement charges. A primary school dropout, he was sentenced in 2018 and had his sentence commuted after being selected to study Bachelor of Science in Nursing and Midwifery at Mzuzu University. Sam Kalimira has the story.
According to the ruling, Justice Thompson Ligowe said upon review, the court has confirmed the conviction but reduced the sentence so as to result in his immediate release on Thursday. Mzuzu Prison Public Relations Officer Macbeth Wasambo said Mafulirwa was supposed to complete his jail sentence in May of 2023. However, Wasambo said Mafulirwa demonstrated good behavior and joined Form 1 and later sat for the Malawi School Certificate of Education and managed to pass with 17 points.
Yes, this time he's a free man. Of course, there was a worry that how is he going to proceed with education due to the fact that he is in prison, he's serving his sentence. But lucky enough, the High Court has reduced his sentence, which has led to his immediate release, which means now he's having a chance to go and proceed with his education.
However, Mafulirwa said he cannot afford to pay school fees at Mzuzu University because he lost both parents while he was in prison.
I've lost my mother when I was in prison, mother and father. So it's very difficult for me to raise 450,000 per month. So I just I beg well-wishers to help me so that I should proceed with my education.
Recently, Human Rights Education Advice and Assistant wrote to President Lazarus Chakwera requesting him to consider pardoning Mafulirwa so that he can be released and pursue his education.
The government is in the process of reviewing customs and clearing procedures business people go through when importing and exporting goods. Minister of Trade Sosten Gwengwe disclosed this during the 7th Indigenous Customs Clearing and Forwarding Agents Annual General Meeting in Mangochi. Yohani Simon has more in this report, read by Jameson Chauluka.
Gwengwe says government has noted that some business people are being forced to use uncharted routes when importing and exporting their goods because the procedures for clearing goods at the borders are not user-friendly. He says government is therefore reviewing procedures to reduce time which traders take when clearing their goods at the border. The minister says ministry will also facilitate formulation of policies which will help create a conducive environment for small and medium enterprises locally. Gwengwe then challenged ICAFA members to take advantage of the government directive of providing 60% of contracts to indigenous companies. He reveals that the ministry is working with Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority and the Ministry of Justice to ensure the regulations giving preference to indigenous black Malawians in the awarding of public procurement contracts, popularly known as the 60/40 provision in the PPD Act, are gazetted.
You've also heard of the one-stop border posts that we try to make sure that our importers and exporters are able to be at the border and they don't have to stop twice, they only stop once. That will cut times and costs as far as facilitation of documents is concerned. Also, just to say that some of the members of the customs and clearance agents, they need to improve on issues of integrity.
In his remarks, ICAFA President Kumbuka Kalua commends government for showing political will to clear obstacles that are affecting businesses for ICAFA members. He appealed to government to engage the telecommunications sector to reduce the cost of data and connectivity as a way of helping businesses that have been affected by COVID-19.
We all know that the pandemic has devastated the economy, not only of this country but of the world, and we're trying to make sure that we put ourselves at an advantage during this period. And we have also discussed about how we can conduct our business, how we can get relevant business from the government, and also how we can conduct ourselves. And last and most importantly, there are some people that are doing forgery at the border and want to make sure that those people must stop and want to make sure that we take them aboard, that they must realize that whatever they are doing is not correct and it is hampering development of this country.
Kalua then pledged continued close collaboration with Malawi Revenue Authority MRA, which is the principal partner of most of the ICAFA members.
Deputy Minister of Health, Chris Kanyasho, has expressed satisfaction with the nutrition scaling up program by the Hunger Project. The program aims at reducing malnutrition mainly among pregnant women and under 5 children. Kanyasho toured some of the interventions under the program in Nsanje, Chikwawa and Zomba. Our correspondent Elijah Mpopo reports.
The Deputy Minister of Health, Chris Kanyasho, has been inspecting some of the intervention the Hunger Project has been implementing in the country under its Nutrition Scaling Up project. This week, the Deputy Minister visited Nsanje, Chikwawa and Zomba district where the Hunger Project has been carrying out its activities. In the area of Group Village Headman Jali, the Hunger Project is running an early childhood development center, an under 5 clinic as well as a food bank in order to ensure that the area has got enough food stocks. In the area of Group Village Headman Gwindimbule, the Hunger Project established nutrition and care group promoters who are equipping communities with the skills of food preparation. The Deputy Minister of Health shared this impression upon conclusion of her tour.
As you know, the President just launched Scaling Up Nutrition 3.0, just maybe last month. So it's going very well with Hunger Aid is doing. It's teaching Malawians or the local people to know that there's 6 groups of foods and which ones are the groups. So I've seen that they are following the instructions.
Grace Chigowi is the country manager for the Hunger Project, and she elaborates some of the major interventions her organization has been undertaking.
I think these people are so much empowered and they have so much skills, because the first thing before we start doing anything is to work with them in terms of mindset change. They have changed their mind to believe that they can address malnutrition on their own. They don't have to wait for the government to bring them food or for NGOs to support them, for them to pull out themselves. They now understand that responsibility of ending hunger and malnutrition is in their hands. As such, they are taking commitments to do the things that will address hunger and malnutrition.
Malnutrition still remains a major threat in the country, particularly among pregnant women and children. The country continues to experience deaths among pregnant women and under 5 children, mainly due to malnutrition. Children who are malnourished are also exposed to long-term consequences which would affect their future well-being.
That's the news for now, but before we go to the headlines once again, Parliament calls for a mining council to oversee mining issues in the country. Plunder of public resources continues in the country despite several interventions. In other news, workers in the country's informal sector are suffering serious abuse. Remember, you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page at Times 360 Malawi, subscribing to 1895 and following us on Twitter at Times 360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, mask up, and get vaccinated to prevent COVID-19. Stay safe. You have been with me, Uncle Sonda.